Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Black Digital Media TV. We're excited to be back this evening. As you know, we're Black Digital Media TV. I'm a wonderful co-host, Gina, and we are excited tonight. We have a professional in mental health, and just going to give us some great information and talk about our business. We have Coach K. How you tonight, Coach K?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking.
Good, good, good. Well, we're going to get right into the show. I know that's what everybody's been waiting for. And, Black Digital Media, our purpose and what we're all about is about promoting Black-owned businesses and CEOs that's doing positive things in their communities. And we just want to be another Black Digital Media that adds additional voice to the media platforms that you're already using. And the one thing that we believe is the way to build and strengthen our Black community is to support Black businesses. And that's why Coach K is with us tonight. So I'll give you a little bit of history about Coach K. She's a certified and professional. Coach K, she's the name of your business, first of all, Coach K, it's Preeminent Life Solutions. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, that's fine. And Coach K, she's a certified mindfulness mediation practitioner, teacher, who positions young Black ladies and single moms to be mindful and develop their voice and increase their mental strength. Coach K also assists individuals in navigating in pursuit by way of providing effective teaching on how to become grounded in their current situations and embrace their experiences without judgment. I think we all need that one. And for sure. Coach K, she says her objective is to also assist individuals, again, to be more mindful, stay focused on the present. I really like this one. Eradicate self-doubt. That's going to be a good one, Coach K. So we definitely want to hear you talk about that. And develop their weaknesses, elevate their strengths. And she says that her passion is for what she does is because she's result driven. And that's what we're here for, is to have results from this show. So thank you again for being with us tonight, Coach K. And I'll turn it over to Gina, and she'll finish introducing you.
And thank you, Laron. One of the reasons why I decided it was important for Coach K to come on as well, in addition to all of her certifications and her, her talents that she's going to share with us. Many of you may know that I have a huge heart for the lupus community. Because many years ago, I was diagnosed with it myself. And one of the things that I found that many people in the lupus community who've been diagnosed with lupus or any other autoimmune condition, they tend to battle with some form of depression, anxiety, some kind of mental condition. And I know that that is a huge part of anyone who suffers from any kind of chronic illness. So that's one of the reasons why I've taken this evening's episode, and I've shared it also with the lupus community on Facebook. And for those of you who are watching, please reach out if you have any questions. Please don't forget to go to streamyard.com/Facebook and give Facebook permission to show your comments, because we want to have a dialogue here. This is not going to be one where Coach K is telling you what you need to do. If you have questions, please reach out and post a comment, and we'll respond. And so we can have a communication here. Let's have a dialogue about mental health and why it is so important, whether you have a chronic illness or whether you just wake up one morning and you found out you lost your job. It could be a number of reasons why we have these concerns. And Coach K, I am so happy that you said yes when I reached out to you. So thank you for being here. And without any further ado, let's just jump right in. And I guess my first question is, you are a certified mindfulness and meditation practitioner, teacher, coach, all of those things. What exactly is mindfulness, and why should we be, for lack of a better word, mindful of it?
Yes, mindfulness is a practice that you do every day. When you walk outside, you want to be mindful of your surroundings. You want to be mindful of your mental health, or it's just a practice that it's living in your current moment, living in your situation, living in the present. So like right now, we're here, and so focus on here and now, and try to eliminate the wandering minds going all over the place. And I try to keep you focused in that moment. And why we need it is because when you're on a job, just say take the job for instance, and you are in a situation where you have a problem or an issue going on within the workplace, and you're the type person that wants to react, as soon without thinking about your reaction. Your first response is to react how I feel like reacting at that moment. So I teach you how to maneuver your thought process, how to sit back, assess the situation, and know that your job is not worth losing right now. You feeling a sense of release because you got out what you wanted to say to your boss or your supervisor at that time. You have to remember you have a home to take care of. You have kids to go back to. So you have to be mindful of what you say and how you say it and who you say it to. So you always want to step back and look at the situation and be mindful of the situation before you move forward with, say, your objectives, what you plan, or what you seem, what you feel is the right movement at that time doing that job. So just ask for 5 minutes or whatever, just sit back, think about it, take deep breaths, come back and just reassess the situation and just try to focus and then respond accordingly.
So in other words, try to take emotions out of it.
Yes.
We all tend to respond laden with emotions a lot.
That's correct. So it does. It kind of affects your ability to think, reacting quickly. You have to sit and adjust, and think about your livelihood. Even when you're driving in a car, you don't know who's in front of you, who's beside you, who's behind you, So when you're so quick to mash that horn and say what you feel like saying at that moment, you don't know who's beside you. It is so many situations to where they got the car, okay, and it didn't end well. So, just be careful, what you do and how you do it. Assess the situation and think about you not knowing what's next to you or what's behind you. They may not have nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, I want to say this, Coach K, is because I like what you said. Just if you're at work, and I mean, we all go through these type situations, especially at work. Even if we're in this time of this where things are that we're all kind of isolated, but we still go to work. Some of us are home, kind of remote. But in the heat of the moment, Coach K, if someone is just kind of like really upset, they're in one of those situations. They're in one of those situations at their workplace. I mean, what would you say to that person if you were able to talk to them in that moment? Again, what would you say to them before they just get ready to either like almost want to, grab someone that's just really upset them, or the manager or something? What would you say to them, Coach K, in that very moment right there?
In that moment, I'll ask them, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? Or what gratification will you get by saying what you need to say at that moment? You have, like I said, you have a livelihood you have to take care of. The reason why you're here at work, because you need the money to take care of your bills, to take care of your family. So all that extra, all that, the anger that's in you right now, you have to learn how to release it. So I would sit and ask them, what would you lose at this moment? How would you maintain your household if they were to fire you at this moment? So sit there and you just sit there and just breathe. Take a moment to think, come back to reality. I see a lot of Black women, they are frustrated due to the situations that they deal with at work. We're overworked, underpaid, and it's like we're not valued. And a lot of women, they take that and the anger and the frustration, it sits inside of them because we can't say what we want to say at that time. So we have to hold all of our frustrations in. It comes to a point to where it sits and it festers. And when it's time to say something, we tend to explode at the wrong time.
Mhm.
Exactly.
So you mentioned breath work, like breathing. What other kind of modalities would you help, or would you use to kind of, when you're dealing with someone who has this kind of anger within them, or they're dealing with a really tough situation and not necessarily know how to kind of fuel, how to release the anger. So what other kind of modalities, apart from, okay, take a breath, just stop in the moment, just take a breath.
Everybody is different. Everybody have different emotions. Everybody have different reasons why they have those emotions. So it depends on that individual. Say it has happened before to where they did, end up blowing up at their coworker or their supervisor. Take a walk outside. Get your thoughts together. A lot of people like to just take a walk. And if it's okay on their lunch break, get in your car and just drive around and listen to music. Anything that helps you get back to where you need to be in order to be productive at that time. So everybody have different outlets to where they want to, take a drive, listen to the music, take a walk around the building, talk to a friend. And it's a lot of people that have friends that will talk them down. I have a few of them, so I can say that, and it talks them down to where you know who you are, you know why you're here. All the other stuff doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. So we need to focus on you, why you here, why you need this job, and how are you going to advance and get to the next level. You can't advance by acting crazy and not knowing how to control your emotions. So just think about a happy place. Sit and think about a place that made you happy. Maybe it was a vacation that you took with your kids, a family reunion. Just think of a happy place, for about 10, 15 minutes and get yourself back together.
So Coach K, would you say sometimes also in those situations, if it's too overwhelming for you at that particular time and moment, how about the next day? Do you just go home, take a breather, just kind of get into yourself? And then what do you say about that if that person comes back? Because I had a particular experience like that that you're mentioning, and you said a friend that would talk you down. And I had that very same situation where I just blew up. I totally blew up, Coach K. And when I blew up, I blew up at the GM. And we were right in the heat on the floor. Customers was there. And, and in that moment, I was really upset. So he actually sent me home. He sent me home. But then I went home. I had a chance to think about it. I called another friend of mine and he says, listen, you got a lot of things going on home, personally, things that's going on, things that I probably I may not have reacted that way in that moment had I not had a lot of other things going on. So at the time, my friend says, listen, you just need to kind of rethink this, go back tomorrow, tell the boss that, listen, things are tough for you right now. If he had maybe in that situation happened to you, and you didn't have as many things going on, you would not have reacted that way. By taking that time that you said to take that breather and get away and then come back, that GM, we talked it out. And I just came back and I just told him, listen, I'm just going through a lot of different things right now. And I do apologize. It wouldn't have happened had I not gone through these things. We worked that thing out. He actually wound up giving me my job back.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. But like you said, you have to go away. You got to think. So definitely, 1, 2, 3 counting, but you say you would recommend people maybe going away for a day, or at least just what would you say to that one?
And your situation, I'm glad you had a boss that would listen to you. A lot of times when you get in these positions, you're higher, you're bigger than everybody. You don't have no time for, I'll say, the peasants. You know, I fired you, you went off on me, and I'm done with it. So you had somebody that was really concerned about you and knew you were a valued employee.
Yes.
So that that was a good thing, for you. But when you go home, you have children. If you have children, you can't bring work home. So you have to learn to separate the two, because you don't want to bring that work issue to your home, because that'll affect your kids, affect their, they come home, hi mom, whatever. And then you're angry and they see that. And don't think kids won't see you angry and don't feel that you're angry or don't feel that you're depressed, because it toggles on to them. So yes, you do want to, when you leave the job or when you go home, just like riding in a car, just think about what you've done. But the main thing and the important thing is take accountability, what you've done, because it's not all on that one person. What could you have done differently in that situation? You wanted self gratification at that time, and you felt good for telling him off because you've been holding that in for like 5 months, through 2 or 3 years. So now I got this time, just like go in, I'm happy now. Like, now what you gonna do? You lost your job.
But I like what you said, is you have to take accountability. And, I think that's, just that, I think that's a big key to what you're saying is, no matter what the situation and where we're at in life, we have to first assess ourselves and take that responsibility. And I think that's how we can dissolve and correct a lot of these issues. But we have to put that focus and put the onus back on where that stuff came from. If it came from you, within you, then you need to point that out. And I think that's one of the things that he realized, is that he felt I was honest. But I had a lot of, and I think my integrity at the work and my job, he knew I was a valued employee there. So definitely that helped that situation. So I like how you said how to handle that situation.
Yes.
LeRon just brought something up and I wanted to address it, where he, do you have people who come to you and they're not aware of where they're anxious, they're depressed, they've got all of this stuff going on, but they're not necessarily sure where it's all coming from?
Oh yeah.
And how do you help them to kind of figure that out?
Well, first, the consultation. Everybody is not for everybody. So my consultation is, seeing if we are right fit for each other. Because I'm a very blunt person, and I do not, if I see something wrong, I'm gonna let you know what you did wrong. It may not be cute at that time, but I am mindful of how I say it. So they do come with their mind jumbled and not knowing why they end up where they are now. So what I do is we sit and look at where they are now. Why are you here, and why are you still here? So when I'm talking to them, it's like I'll say I do an analysis or whatever. I look at what happened to them to get them to where they are. So we're going to look at and all the patterns that had gotten you to this place. And then we're going to kind of dissect that. We're going to separate the two, because everything in that relationship, everything that in that job or what happened to you, everything is not your fault. So we look at that, we dissect it, and we move and separate the pieces that were the other party's fault. And we look at, we separate your faults in that situation. So we kind of extract the other party's, their issues or their part into your demise, and we look at yours. So now we look at everything that you've done to cause what happened in your life. So we look at that and we see what they could have done differently. And we kind of make sure they want to take accountability. A lot of people can't take accountability because they have not accepted what they've done. They don't know what they've done unless somebody put it into the forefront and show them what needs to be changed. So once we do that, then we can move forward. but you have to take accountability. You have to see what you've done. And if you're not willing to accept that, if you're not willing to say, okay, let me think about this, then there's no, at that time, there's no help. Because you have to own what you've done to cause your own problems.
I was looking at one of your posts on Instagram, and one of the things that was there was guilt, a health problem.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you consider that to be a health problem in your words?
When you feel guilty about something, that also causes stress and depression. And that guilt also sits within you and it festers. It just sits here, and a lot of people have different pressure or stress points or stress areas. When people are guilty of something, it eats away at them. And that causes mental health issues. I've did something that nobody will forgive me for. I've done something that is unforgivable. I've done something that my parents will not forgive me for, my daughter, my siblings, my husband, and it causes you to become depressed, and it causes stress. And that stress in a female, it also can cause fibroids. So it's a lot of health issues that goes on with being stressed and depressed. So guilt is something that a lot of people deal with, and it also causes mental health. Like, I don't want to diagnose anybody, but it gets to the point where they have to see a psychiatrist. Because it gotten to where they can't function, or they think everybody is against them. They can't go to work without the stressors of them thinking everybody is always out to get them because they've done this certain thing that's unforgivable. So guilt, it causes stress. It causes depression. If you don't talk to somebody, you have to let that go. And you have to know that everything that you do in life, you just have to own it. You have to accept it, and you have to learn how to move away from that. Nobody on this earth is not perfect. We've all done things that, that we're guilty of. So just own it, talk about it to somebody that you trust, and just move on. Because as long as you hold that in, you're going to continue to have these aches and pains, and you're not going to trust anybody. You're going to be in your corner, thinking that everybody is out to get you, or nobody is going to forgive you for what you've done.
So, Coach K, you say in that you mentioned depression. What if you, and like you said, you don't want to diagnose anyone, but from your expertise, what are some of the symptoms, or what are some of the signs that an individual may go through? They may not know they're going through a depression. They may not know it. What are some of the things that they start doing that they can probably look at themselves and say, hey, I might be in a depression? What are some of those signs that, what does a person do if they're going through a depression?
Isolation.
Some of the things.
Isolation. When you notice you move different. You notice that you used to love hanging out with your friends, going different places. You like to party. You like to go out and, to have drinks. You like to go out just to eat with your friends. And you find yourself not wanting to do the things that you used to love at one time. That's a sign. If you come home and just not want to speak, and you do that more often than not, and you're a type person that loves to speak and talk about your day, that's a sign. If you go into you just come home one day and you're sitting on your bed, you cut the TV on, but you just look at the apps on your smart TV, and you just blank, that's a sign. So people that used to speak all the time, used to like to laugh and giggle, when you don't see yourself doing that, then that's a sign. So just think about the things you used to do to make you happy versus what you're doing now. You're not doing those things anymore.
So is this the point, Coach K, that they would talk to family members, people at church, or do they seek professional help? And they may, like I said, they may not be, but is this the time that they begin to at least consider doing that? Is that what?
Yes. I would, if I am coaching or mentoring you and I see those signs, and after I speak with you and see what type person you are and who you've become, it's time to take the next step. See a psychiatrist or somebody, because I don't do that. Okay. I can't. I'm not going to sit here and diagnose you. I'm not going to sit here and label you. I'm here to help you get through what you're going through, looking for a better outlet in life. So if you find yourself in that situation, family members are not always for you. They're not professionals. They may see the difference in you that you don't see, but you're not going to respect that. You're not like, whatever, that's just me. I was just busy that day, or I was doing something. I couldn't come see you that day, or I couldn't hang out with you. They're going to have an excuse. And a lot of them don't own it. They see it, but they don't want to accept it.
So how helpful is it to say, snap out of it? Because I've heard, a lot of people who are going through some of the things that you mentioned, you'll hear family members will just say, you just need to snap out of it.
That's just another word for get out my face. Leave me alone. I don't feel like being bothered. That's also to do with, if you haven't, see, back in the day, we were told our children are to be seen, not be heard. Mm-hmm. And when people come to you with the problem, it's time to listen. Because so many people have, I don't want to go here, but they have been sexually assaulted by family members and stuff like that. And they don't really talk to anybody. They don't feel like they can talk to family. And when you tell somebody that, it's like, you don't care about me at that time. So now it's another problem for them. I went to my own family and they didn't help me. So it causes, that doesn't help with your depression. That doesn't help with your anxieties or your stressful situations. So when you go to family that is going to be like, girl, get out of here, go sit down somewhere, just get over it. They're not there to help you, and they're not active listeners. So you need to seek help outside of your family. Somebody that's trained and somebody that's willing to sit there and listen to you while you're speaking. So, yeah.
Now
so
that leads into the next.
I want to ask you this question. Sorry. Go ahead, Gina. Go ahead.
No, I was saying that leads into the next. What I think would be a critical point, would be forgiveness, and how important is forgiveness in healing from whatever particular trauma, whether it be sexual assault or something else. How important is forgiveness, self-forgiveness, as well as forgiving the other parties involved? How important is that in the mental health and in healing?
I think about, I talk about forgiveness a lot. It's easier said than done. Forgiveness, you have to forgive. You're not going to make it into heaven, first of all, if you don't forgive anybody. You can't hold anger, or you can't hold malice in your heart. You have to forgive no matter what. And you forgive for you, not the other person, to make the other person feel good. Like, yeah, I got her to forgive me. Like, yeah, she apologized. No, I did this for me and for my mental health and for my, I'll say, way into heaven. Okay. Nobody should ever stop you from, earning your wings. Forgiveness is, like I said, it's easier said than done. And people ask me, how if you've forgiven somebody? I would say, if I can look at them and not get angry, I know I've forgiven them. That's just me and my walk. And if I can be around them in the same space without getting angry or remembering things they've done to me, then I have forgiven them. And I tell other people, what makes you better than God? God has already forgiven you. So why can't you forgive yourself? He has forgiven you. So why haven't you forgiven yourself? So you have to look at it like there's nothing that God doesn't see. He knows you done. He know you did it. He's there, so forgive yourself. You've asked God for forgiveness. You've asked for that. So accept it. He has forgiven you. So now you have to forgive yourself. And in forgiving other people, how can you forgive anybody if you haven't forgiven yourself first? You can't say, oh, I forgive this person for doing things to me when things that you've done, you haven't forgiven yourself. So how can that happen? If you cannot forgive yourself, how are you going to forgive somebody else?
That kind of makes me think, Coach K, when you say it that way. And I don't know, it's from my own self and personal experience, and definitely forgiving yourself. That is a huge key to forgiving someone else. But kind of speak to what some of these, if you don't release these things, Coach K, and you hold these things in, how does these stresses really begin? What are some of the elements that they begin to do to your human body if you don't if you don't begin the first to forgive yourself and to begin that healing process for that person? But this is for you. What are some of the effects that these things really have on your body? I mean, what kind of elements begin to set in when you do?
And it's not on your body. It's just everybody have different stress points. You can go, you have, in your back, your lower part of your back. Mine is my back and my stomach. And if I know I'm holding something in, I really can't function at work because those pains are bothering me where I can't focus at work. So your work start being, getting, sloppy. Your work ethic start declining. Your the interactions with your coworkers, it's not like it used to be. So and you're just sitting there worried all the time it's always in your head. So you really can't focus and you really can't be productive as you used to be at the job. So that holds a lot. And like I said, it just sits inside of you, and it causes pains. Everybody, like I said, everybody have different stressors, like the back, the neck. Mine also is in my neck, in my shoulders and stuff. So it's like you just can't function. It does something to your body to where, you just, yeah. It's kind of hard to explain because everybody's body is different and everybody reacts different to a situation. So yeah, I would just be mindful of be mindful of your body now versus when it gets to a stressful state. So you know where the sign, what to look for in the signs. If your legs are cramping more, whatever, because you're sitting in a chair. And now when you at work, you have these chairs to where if you have long legs and the chair stops like right there, let's see, before your knees, and it's always bothering you. So now you're sitting there stressed out. You're sitting there stressed out. You're sitting there depressed, and if you sit there longer than 30 minutes, your legs are going to start hurting. So when you're sitting there over the 30-minute mark, then something is going on. You're something is bothering you. And when you don't so it's like I said, everybody it's different for everybody. And like I said, you sit there longer than expected because normally you would get up before that 30 minutes up to stretch your legs so your legs won't be in such pain. But now you're just sitting there like for a whole hour, 2 hours and not moving. So it's just, watch out for the signs, but yeah.
One of the things that I study traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurveda. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but in traditional Chinese medicine, well, both in Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine, they feel that certain emotions impact certain parts of the body. And one of the things you probably hear a lot of is that anger tends to be held within the liver. So I always used to say, not everybody who ends up with cirrhosis of the liver is because of their drinking. It could be just because they're a very angry individual. Because the Chinese and in the Ayurvedic tradition, they do believe that anger, is held within the liver. And as well, I made a few notes here. Stress tends to affect your brain and your heart. So it's kind of hard to be really loving whenever you're really stressed out. At least that's the way I'm looking at it. Frustration tends to be held in the head. Tension, like you mentioned, tends to be in the neck and the spine and your back area. And this one kind of caught my attention, was mistrust is held within the thyroid. And that is something I'm still kind of, working out a little bit, trying to figure out that part. Grief and fear in the lungs. And if you think about it, whenever you're afraid of something, you tend to, if you're suddenly like in shock, you tend to kind of suck in really quickly, and that's affecting your lungs, because then you kind of stop breathing whenever you're afraid, right? So that part I understood. Anxiety, and I'm not just, to me, it's not just anxiety, it's a few other emotions as well, tend to affect your digestive system. So whenever you're dealing with depression, with anxiety, that sort of thing, you tend to have issues related to the gut. And when it comes to people who have been diagnosed with any kind of autoimmune condition, that's usually where they have a lot of issues, is within the digestive system. And speaking from personal experience, I went through a lot of digestive issues when I was first diagnosed with lupus, and figured out that that's where I really had to heal in order to be able to heal the rest of my body. And at one time, I was diagnosed with clinical depression. And I'm sure it had a lot to do with, being ill at the time, and having young children at the time, and not knowing what was I going to be alive the next day, because I already had, I think, 2 near-death experiences when my kids were very young. So I had all of that stuff going through, and I had a horrible digestive system at the time. But it took me years, several years, to fix it. So I realized, a lot of emotions can really affect different body parts. So that's why I kind of wanted to mention that, because I know that, people will say, well, yes, you're stressed out. You just kind of get over it, fix your life, whatever the case is, or you have something else going on. You can easily fix that, but not realizing that for every emotion that we're experiencing, it is affecting a certain part of the body. And that is something that I really had, I did a lot of work on in order to be able to heal. And forgiveness, which you mentioned, that was huge. I think that was probably the toughest work that I had to do. But, I think that's where the healing really started, was learning how to forgive whoever had hurt me in the past, whatever hurt I'd done to myself. And that part right there was huge. But that's where the healing really began, was with forgiveness.
Yeah. And it is like, and you're saying the digestive tract. People don't realize when they are stressed or depressed, their diets change. You may eat something that you haven't eaten. When you were happy-go-lucky, you just had a salad. All you eat is salads and, the keto diets and all that. So now you're depressed. Stop by McDonald's and get a burger, So the dieting, your diet changes also. And that's where, and all, that's also probably where that, digestive issues come into play. Pay attention to what you've done prior versus what you're doing now. Your eating habits. You want to you don't want to be home. You want to get in the car and drive, but you don't stop by, the time you drive at 1 o'clock in the morning, some grocery stores don't be open, but Walmart to go get an apple or a banana. You got McDonald's, give me a French fry, so, and your diets, changes, when you are depressed or you're stressed out. So, yeah, but I haven't done the Chinese medicine. I have not did research on that.
Yeah, that's one of the things I ended up studying quite a bit when I was first diagnosed, because the pharmaceuticals that I was taking, they were basically just kind of slowly killing me, and I just needed to be around for my kids. So I
Yes.
started researching other, other forms, and just just by studying a lot of the different Ayurvedic principles and how, healing the gut to heal the body, that sort of thing, I really started looking at my diet. And that was another thing. I started journaling every
Yes.
food that I was eating, how it affected me, whether it was positive or negative. And, even though it was something I might have eaten all my life, if it gave me a negative reaction, then I would put that aside for a while, because I really started to realize, they say between 75 and 80% of our immune system resides in our gut.
Mhm.
So it stands to, you take care of your gut, you're going to start to heal the rest of your body. So I really did a lot of work in that area. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Whew. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go look at the Chinese medicine, because I've never thought about looking at that or doing any research. But yeah, the gut, and a lot of people that I've spoken with, they hold the frustrations in their guts.
Mhm.
And when you're doing the meditation, it's like you're not breathing fully, you're not taking a complete breath. So half the people that's holding that anger in their stomach, you can tell when you're doing the breath, the breathing meditation, because they don't breathe. They stop at a certain point. So they don't take a complete deep breath or a complete breaths. So yeah.
So now that we're on the topic of meditation, and Laurent, jump in, because I will just talk, talk, talk.
Yeah, go ahead. You're all
um,
right.
on the topic of meditation, when someone comes to you and they literally are carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders, how do you get them to meditate? Because when people think about meditation,
I just tell them to stop. Just stop. Stop thinking, stop walking, stop talking, just stop.
mhm,
Um, a lot of people get overwhelmed and their mind is all over the place. I'll say cluttered. The mind is cluttered, because I know you do the decluttering, but their mind is cluttered. They don't know where to begin. They don't know where to end. They don't know where it came from. They don't know where to go. So I just say stop. Okay. And just take a breath. Just close your eyes and just breathe. And when they are tensed up and when they're so excited and all this anxiety is going on, you just have to assess the situation. Look at them after they had a moment and just talk to them and see what's going on.
mhm,
And then they'll end up getting more relaxed once somebody is actually listening to them and paying attention to them. A lot of people, they're so quick to judge and brush aside, but they forget that you were there at one time and all you needed was an ear. Just sit and listen. So I look and see what the problems are. And I ask them, where are you hurting? Where, your shoulders, or you tightening? And just have them sit wherever we are. We can be on a computer or whatever. Just have them sit down and just relax. Your shoulders, just relax your shoulders and just close your eyes and just think of something, just think of anything. Think of your breath, be mindful of your atmosphere, be mindful of your surroundings, depending on what type of meditation I do for them. If it's like focus meditation, I want you to focus on a candlelight, focus on your breathing, focus on the bottle that's sitting in front of you, and just declutter your mind. Just focus on that one thing and leave everything else behind. So we're just, and it's kind of hard because a lot of them don't know how to meditate. They do not. So it's really difficult when you cannot focus, when you're so cluttered, but you have to practice on a daily basis. So I have them come back to me like, every day, like, okay, we got to fix this. We got to get you to a place where you're comfortable and you know how to meditate, because it is not easy. It is not easy. And especially like the decluttering of your mind. You have so much going on, like entrepreneurs. They wear 15 different hats. and they try to do 15 different things at one time. So they're all over the place. I can do this. No, 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 no. You have to focus on one thing at a time to be productive, to be effective. So, but you have to, it takes practice to meditate. And so I just, when they come to me and, all frantic and whatever, I just have them stop, just stop. I don't want to hear you talking. I don't want to hear nothing. Just stop. Okay. And just get yourself together, get your thoughts together, because you're not doing you any justice. You're not doing me any justice, because I don't want to be decluttered just like you are. You're not going to bring that in my space.
Right.
I'm not going to accept that. So we're going to stop right now, and you're going to get yourself together. And when you do, you're just going to come back to me, but I do leave my monitor on. I don't close the monitor down and say, okay, just deal with it and call me back. I do monitor them and make sure they're okay. That they're okay, because some of them, are.
And I just want to say, for those, for any individuals that just came on in the middle of this is Coach K. Coach K is a certified mindfulness and meditation practitioner and a teacher. This is her expertise. This is her business. So she is a professional. So definitely, if you're having these issues, Coach K is definitely one of the ones who definitely you want to reach out to. She's here for you. This is why we have her on. We in our community, we have these things. And I think the only one of the biggest unfortunate things for us, and I will say this just maybe as a Black community, we always say that, we usually hold things in within our community. We're not always easy to go and get professional help and assistance and things like that. But we know, but just like you mentioned, you said this is just as good for business owners, individuals, anyone. So that's why we brought Coach K on. So she's a professional. She's a certified mindfulness in meditation. Yes. And so Gina definitely says we have to have you on, Coach K. And so we really are happy you came. And we just hope that everyone that's here, they continue to just reach out to you. And that's what you're here for. Gina, you have what's your next question for Coach K?
Now, Coach K, you mentioned breath work, how to breathe and learn, maybe doing the candle meditation. That's one of my favorite, by the way, just sitting there and watching a candle flame, because I'm one of those people that, my mind will just, if I'm not doing a guided meditation where I'm listening to someone walking me through, or I'm watching a candle, the flame of a candle, I'm done. My mind is going all over the place. And usually I have to do it first thing when I wake up in the morning. That's when I usually do my quiet time, my meditation time is first thing in the morning. And that's usually like around 4:30, 5 o'clock. My eyes pop open. I do it very, very early. I wake up very early, and most people don't even are aware that I'm even awake, because I'm just very quiet. But it's something that I've trained myself to do early in the morning, because I was one of those people that I would just have all of these things, would say, okay, empty your mind. And the more I say empty your mind is the more things start to flood in. The list of things I have to do come tomorrow, the list of things I didn't finish today. We always have something that needs to be done. So you mentioned the meditation, breath work, and there was one that I have written down here, shikantaza.
Yeah, I have that right there. Yes, I have not dwelled into on that one. It's so many meditation practices out there. Yes, I have not hit that one.
What about sound therapy? Because I know that working with the meditation is one thing, but do you incorporate things like maybe the sound bowl, or maybe you have like music playing? How would you incorporate sound?
The singing bowl. I do not do the singing bowl or the sound bowl meditation, but I do incorporate that in the beginning and the end of my meditations. Only if, when I do my meditation, I make sure that the people that I do the meditation with is comfortable with what I'm doing. So you always want to make sure that they are comfortable. So yes, I do it in the beginning, the singing bowl. But you know, people have to be careful also because if you have epilepsy, that can trigger an episode, that singing bowl, that sound and the vibration and the ringing of the ears. So you have to be careful on the people that you have in your meditation group. You have to make sure that they're okay with that sound. And the vibrations, you know, can trigger headaches. If you have migraines all the time, that also can contribute, you know, could trigger the migraines and the headaches. So you want to make sure that you know your audience before you use any of the sounds that have the vibrations and the ringing of the ears.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I've never, for someone who, I was diagnosed with tinnitus several years back. And and this was, I think, the year after I was diagnosed with lupus. I just woke up one day and I realized that they were angels singing in my ears. That's what I have to call it. Otherwise, you know, when you put a negative connotation on it, it's like, okay, they're just angels singing. And the only time it gets really bad is around 4th of July, when all of the fireworks are going off. I have to wear the protective, you know, the headpiece, so that it kind of muffles the sound. But I never actually thought about the sound bowl affecting that, because that's one of the things I use is I have the Tibetan sound bowl, but I find that it's very soothing for me. But then you also mentioned about the epilepsy, and I never would have thought about that.
Yes.
But you're right.
Yeah. So you just want to be careful and know your audience, because you don't want to have a situation to where, you know, you're doing the meditation and something happens to your client, or so yeah, you want to be careful with that. And the vibrations and the music, you know, getting people to, you know, de-stress, to relax. The singing bowl is nothing but another, like, some people like music. Okay, you get in your car, you listen to music. That's just a sound. So singing bowl is just another sound that some people choose to de-stress. You know, so it's just a sound. So it's the sound and what you like to do. You know, like the listening to water. You know, some people like listening to water to meditate, listening to the rain, the rivers, the wind. It's just a sound that people want to listen to while they're meditating or to de-stress. So it's your choice to whether you want to use a singing bowl, the sound bowl, the music, the R&B, the water, the rain, the wind. Is at your discretion. So whatever makes you comfortable, whatever sound makes you comfortable, then that's what we're going to do. So it's all.
So Coach K, when you do these settings, is it usually in a group, or is it more of an individual setting when you do your practice?
I do a lot of one-on-ones, because a lot of people don't feel comfortable with a group setting. They don't want to have people in their business. They don't want people, you know, so like I said, it's at their comfort level. If they want a group session, if they feel comfortable to get everybody together, because it's nice to collaborate, you know, because we're all going through the same things, you know, different outcomes, and the way we got there may be different, but it's all kind of same thing. So whatever
I like what you said when you talk about some of the sounds, the different various sounds. I personally, when I just want to kind of like de-stress or just calm down, you know, it's either jazz music, soft music, rain, you know, rainforest, something like that. Maybe just one that says nothing, but it's like hearing crickets in the forest. But it's, like you said, it's definitely all kinds of ways to kind of begin to decompress and get those and just calm yourself down. I think people should do that quite often. Do you think people should do that, Coach K, quite often? How often do you think people should do stuff like that in terms of those type of meditations? Is that important to do that frequently?
Whenever they're I wouldn't want to say I give them a prescription to do this like every 5 minutes or every day or
I got you.
whenever they are stressed or whenever they feel a certain type of way, whatever makes them decompress, whenever makes them feel better about themselves, feel better about the situation, that's when you do it. When you're in a situation and there you feel that there's no outlet, then music, if that's your type, sound, whatever. But the singing bowl, I do love it. I love the singing bowl because it's just that vibration, it's the ringing. And if you have not heard it, I suggest go hear it. It's just a sound. There's nothing, it's just a sound, that's all. But whatever you do or you feel comfortable and how you relax, how you de-stress, then do it. If you're stressed out 5 times a day, listen to your music 5 times a day. And sometimes if you feel like you're getting ready to get excited or you're finna come across this meeting that I have in 5 minutes and I know I'm gonna be mad or whatever, listen to your music, calm yourself down. Change your thought pattern. Stop thinking negatively. Start thinking positive. So if you go into a situation with a negative thought, negative mindset, that's what you're going to get out of it. Try to change your way of thinking to change the outcome.
And I know one of the things that you mentioned in your as you're describing what you provide services to, you talk about eradicating self-doubt. Yes. So that causes stress as well too, does it not?
It does, because you're doubting yourself. You know, like us females or whatever, that you can do a job, but they don't pay you what you're worth. You see all these, other people getting these positions and getting these promotions, and you got the degree, and they don't have anything but an AA under their belt, or they just have a certificate, and you have a degree to do that job. They want you to do that job, but they don't want to pay you for it. So you have to look at the situation, and adjust your thought patterns. You can do it, but they have you thinking the way you can't do it. Now you're doubtful. So now you want to eradicate that. You can do the job. You can get that car. You can up your credit score. Stop doubting yourself. Stop limiting yourself. That it's in you. If it was not in you, you would be thinking about it. So with that one thought, you move it. You move. So if you have a thought, then let's go. It can be done. But do not doubt yourself. Do not limit yourself by you doubting yourself. So
I know you work a lot with like single women. And one of the things I found that I follow a lot of entrepreneurs on Facebook. And one of the things that they always talk about, one of the things I admire is that there's no competition among them. And I'm talking about, majority in the Black community. They are constantly, celebrating each other. They're in these groups and they're always lifting each other up. There's no competition. And I know that's one of the things that you talk about is collaborate, don't compete. Because we find a lot of Black women tend to not necessarily look at the other entrepreneur or business owner as somebody to work with, but rather to compete against. So what are your thoughts around that?
They don't compete in public, but they do compete. They do. They in the public eye, I want to collaborate with you. And a lot of times, okay, let's collaborate. Let's get together. Let's, push this or whatever. And they don't follow through with it. So it's a lot of that in the public eye. Now you do have a lot of people that do collaborate, that do want to help their sister, or they do want to come together and build a community. But you have a lot of people that will cut you at the feet. When you try to help another I'll say Black female, say, I'm helping you try to get to the next level. So now once I have gotten you there, now you're trying to cut me and try to get in the way of what I'm doing, or trying to be like me, and trying to disassociate yourself to be the next me, not per se me, but it's a lot of competition out there, and it shouldn't be, because it's enough money for everybody to make. But it's a lot of competing, but not on social media. But there is a lot of competition out there. So.
There you go. There we go. Gina, you muted me and you didn't tell me.
Yeah, blame me.
No.
Blame
So,
co-host.
Coach K, I mean, I just want to stick with that point for just a second, because Gina she brought that up in terms of competing, and I like the way you kind of spoke to that. Yeah, and that's what I'm so happy why you're on this platform with us, is because we believe in collaboration, and I think that's what we need to do as the Black community, is just really stick together. I mean, and like you said, you made such a valid point. You says it's enough money for everyone. You know what I mean? And that's how we have to take that attitude. I always believe the way I help someone, the way I help myself, is that I help someone else. And I just believe that's just the attitude that we have. If we can take that type of attitude in the business community, I think it will benefit our communities on a holistic level. I know we've been through a lot of things in terms of, African Americans, in terms of how, we were brought here from slavery and things like that, how this country was built, what capitalism is all about. But, what we have to do is, begin to overcome that mindset that we had from a long time ago, and just really begin to just work together. So I really appreciate you saying that and speaking to that fact. So that's why we're so happy that you're here with us, and we're here to help you to promote what you do, because we know what you do is very vital on all levels. Individuals, couples, business, they need your support. I always tell Gina, sometimes when me and Gina always talk with, I always say, at any given moment, Coach K, any of us, no matter what a traumatic situation that we go through in life, it can force you to have to go and seek help when you're not even expected. You never know, if you're driving that car, you never know what one traumatic situation that can totally change your life. You're going to need to seek professional help. And that's where you come in on those kind of situations as well, too.
And that's a perfect segue into what I'm going to ask next. You have a story around a certain flower, the lotus flower, and that is also very near and dear to my heart. So can you give us an idea of what the lotus flower means to you, and kind of, because I know Laurent just kind of address a couple things that face the Black community. We have a lot of history that they're just constantly dragging around, and that's a lot of mud and a lot of grime, and that we're still kind of digging around in. So kind of explain what the significance of the lotus flower is in as far as the kind of therapies that you work with.
It's kind of funny. I just learned about the lotus flower, I want to say last year sometime. One of my friends had the tattoo on, but I was looking for something and I came across the lotus flower. And I was like, it's a pretty flower. So let me do some research on this. And I found that the lotus flower, it grew or it grows from the swamps or the mud. And it's just a beautiful flower. So I take that and incorporate that, because when I do talk to my clients, they feel that they are devalued, that they are worthless, that they are not enough, that they are not worthy worthy of love. And because of where they come from, and because what people have told them who they are. And so I take that and I explain that you can come from the lowest of the low, a household to where they never praised you, to they're just, undermining your abilities, or just raising you at a point to where you don't feel that you are worthy enough, that you're not loved. So I use that, and in whatever you're going through in life, you're still a beautiful person, just like the ugly duckling. When you can look at that also. So the ugly duckling, it was ugly. I'm sorry, but it turned into a beautiful swan. Everybody was looking at it and thinking that, it wasn't going to go nowhere in life. You're going to be by yourself. You're going to have no friends, so you don't have to always take what people try to put on you. You don't want to accept what people are trying to say you are. You don't need no validation. You don't need any validation. So to move forward in life, God has made you beautiful, and you are beautiful. So, I try to incorporate that in my teachings as well. You can come from the lowest of the low, from, a torn household, to become the most beautiful person. You don't have to always be beautiful on the outside. It's what's always on the inside. You can be beautiful, but still ugly on the inside.
And that's that story, the flower. I first heard about it maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I want to say. And for me, I basically use it as a symbol of transformation, basically, and how I don't know, maybe at some point I'll make myself vulnerable and share some of those pictures when we're doing the stream. But I remember getting up every single morning when I was, in the full lupus flare, and just give an idea of what I looked like. My eyes were always like almost swollen shut. I always had the lupus rash across my face. It wasn't a pretty sight. My lips were usually like really swollen. I had gums that would spontaneously bleed. So I literally was like the ugly duckling, or the lotus flower, in all of the mud and grime under there. And then I started reading. I learned about the lotus flower, and how it basically has its origin in just a lot of, really yucky situation. But then as it pushes its way through all of that mud and grime, it opens itself up and it's completely clean. And that's why I love the story of the lotus flower. It's just that whole transformation that it goes through, having itself in the origin in murky situations. And that's what I have. If you look on a lot of my social media, you'll see me reference "Be the Lotus, Rise from the Mud," because that's one of the things I feel like I've done over the years. Because it's, when I look back on some of my images, because I've written about my journey with lupus, it's scary looking at those pictures. If what I would wake up looking like, and there's some mornings it's like I cannot go to work looking like this, so I'd have to call out sick. And then eventually I ended up stopping my teaching job. But it was just like, yeah. And so now from those beginnings to the person you see sitting in front of you, yes, that is a huge transformation. And I'm a lotus flower through and through. So that's why I love that story. And when I saw that you had it posted on your Instagram page, I'm like, oh yes, I love you already.
Yeah, and it does, like, when people think about accountability, it's not always bad. It's not always a bad thing that you've done, or the reason why that relationship didn't work. Accountability is when you're coming from the bottoms. I don't care if it's the projects, you can live in a beautiful home and still come from the bottom. You still don't have that support that you need. You're still told that you're ugly. You're still told that you're worthless, that you're not going to be anybody. So now you're in college. Okay. You graduated high school. Now you're in college, and now you're about to graduate college. You can always come from that bottom, but you take accountability in what you've done now. You did not take what people tried to label you as. You didn't take it, and hold on to it and let that be your ending story. You took that and you moved with it. Now take accountability for what you've done. You've graduated high school. Now you're in college, you graduate, you're getting ready to graduate college. So take accountability for the things that you've done and how far how far you've gotten and where you are now. You did that. You take accountability for what you've done. You did it, you own it, you accept it. And by doing that, it helps them know that, yeah, I did come from that and see what I've done with myself. I am somebody. You speak positive affirmations every day on a daily basis, but you let yourself know that you did this because you wanted to do this, not to prove anybody wrong. That's the wrong way to go. But you know that you've done it because you wanted to do it. You knew you can do it. So, yeah.
Coach K, you mentioned, and you talk about school and going through training and just understanding those things, but you also talk about your passion and how you describe yourself. So what is it that what is it that made Coach K know that this was what she wanted to do? This was what she wanted to give to people. What helped you decide that particular process? How did you come to this point to be able to start your business doing what you do?
I've always wanted to be a servant leader. Serve people. That's just that was just my passion. And going through the things that I went through. Because I didn't come from, I didn't have a strong head as I do now in the beginning. I had doubts as well. So I had to push myself through and know I deserve better than this, than what I'm thinking. I deserve better than what people told me that I was. I know I can do better from my high school grades. Okay, we ain't gonna go into that one, but I know I'm better than that, So and going through my stages of depression, anxiety, and being labeled and diagnosed and all that, I wanted to let other people know I've got myself out of it, and so can you. So I was a single parent for over 18 years. Okay. So, I've raised my children, they're all entrepreneurs, all three. And so my oldest son is 21, and my daughter is, Lord have mercy. She's 17 now, and I have a 16-year-old. So they're all entrepreneurs. So I know I have to instill in them the value of their worth. Your thoughts are valued. You are valued. Whatever you want out of life, go get it. It's there for you. So my passion came in to where, me going through, job losses and, separation, divorce, it put me in a certain state of mind. And I knew I was better than that. And I want to teach other people that you can move from this situation. You don't have to be here forever. So, you take your losses and you move, you make them into wins. You move. You don't want to be stagnant. So, and for the single mothers, they are, woe is me right now because the man left them. Now I'm a single parent. Oh, now I don't know what to do. I lost myself for 15 years of being married. You didn't lose yourself. You're still there. You just have to get up and find yourself. But my passion came in to where I had to lift myself up, and I've seen others that need my help. So that's why I did, and that's why I am where I am now.
Well, that's good that's good, Coach K, that from the perspective and everything that you went through, you speak to that, but not only are you certified, not only you're a professional, you've experienced a lot of the things. So the things that it takes to get to where you've gotten yourself to overcome, to have self-worth, no self-doubt, you're able to teach those things not only from a professional, but also those have been your self-experiences, and you've incorporated that into starting your business. So I think that's a huge benefit on top of just being certified. When you talk to your clients, you can see the things and feel the things, and then you can be the professional that you are.
Yeah. From my depression state, they put me on different types of medication. I'm like, I'm not taking all that stuff. So I'm like, I'm not gonna, no, ma'am. That's not going into my body. So I knew it was another outlet for me. And I knew I wasn't going to get addicted to this medication. That's what I'm not going to do. So they prescribe you this medication, and then they prescribe you another medication because the effects of this medication, I'm not going through all that. I have kids to take care of. So I did my own research and I found me practicing meditation. So I took myself from medication to meditation. So as me doing that, I found meditation works for me. It helped me get me back, the better part of me back. So I don't teach anybody anything that I have not gone through myself. If I have not, been through the mud, gone through the trenches, and now I made it to the valley, I'm not going to teach anybody else. So everything that I've been through, that's what I teach. I teach you how to get out of these situations to be a better you, to move forward in life without judging your past.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Well, Coach K, you've given us a lot to think about. And I haven't seen any comments, but I'm pretty sure that there are going to be quite a few on Facebook. So we'll go back once the live stream is over and respond to those for those of you who are watching. Yeah, that's I've got a lot to think about. You've definitely shared some stuff with me that I've never really thought about. So, in my practice, I have to be, like you said, know your audience. And that's one of the things I've always been mindful of. But there are a couple of things that I know that I have to think about even more closely now. So
Yes.
thank you so much for addressing, this is it's not necessarily the easiest topic. And I know that there are probably some that are sitting and, they're taking really shallow breaths because it probably applies to a lot of people who are watching. But thank you all for being here. Thank you, Coach K, for being here and for sharing your heart with us, sharing your passion with us. A lot of the techniques that you and your clients work with. This has been definitely eye-opening, and I'm sure that a lot of the people watching will probably want to see you again. And I would certainly like to have you on again if that's okay with you. We'll, later on, because we've had some incredible guests on, and we've learned so much. And that's one of the, yes, Black digital media is here to promote Black businesses and entrepreneurs, but we're also here to educate people, because I know that mental health is a huge topic and often, not necessarily talked about a lot, especially in the Black community. And that's why we really wanted to have you on here kind of addressing some of those issues, because it's something that needs to be talked about, especially with the last year that we've had and all of the different issues that we've, seen, kids committing suicide, grown-ups committing suicide, the isolation and everything that we've had to deal with. So thank you so much for being here. And
Coach K, definitely just share with everyone how to get in touch with you, how they can communicate with you. What is your communication?
My name is long, so I don't expect anybody to remember my business name, but it is Preeminence Life Solutions, LLC. It's a coaching and consulting practice. But you can find everything about me on my Flow page. That's flow.page/Coach K. Just flow.page/Coach K. And you'll find everything, all my websites, what I offer on that platform.
And what we'll do is we'll put all of these links in the comments so that anyone who needs to reach out to you can do so. So you don't have to kind of fast forward on the video to find it. We'll make sure we put these links in.
And thank you so much, Coach K. It's been tremendous having you on, and I know a lot of people are going to benefit from you. So I hope from this effort we get a lot of people coming to you, asking you for your professional help, and we know you can deliver that as well too. So thanks again.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you again, Coach K.
Thank you.
And for everyone who's watching, thank you so much for being here and for joining us again on another episode of Black Digital Media TV.
Thank you.